Hello, welcome to Media Beast Training. This is going to be covering the asset sheet and why the asset sheet is so important. Now, the asset sheet gets turned in whenever there is an actual new order that gets turned in as well. So let's jump in and let's have a look at how it's important, why it's important, and what you actually do with it. So after you turn in one of your new IOs for all the success that you're having now, depending on what tactic that you've selected for the client. If you look down at the bottom of my screen, you will see everything is pretty much labeled by the major tactics that you're selling. So everything from event, geofencing to OTT, Facebook, email blast. In the front here, display advertising, geofencing, site retargeting, contextual display, local service ads, paid search, how we're going to do conversion tracking, and credentials. Now, let's just start with credentials, because typically with any campaign that we're going to be doing for a client, it's important that we can put conversion codes on the website and we have Google Analytics access, so we're tracking everything properly for the client and for you. So this first one is credentials. Now, you're not going to get everything every time. We understand that. But if we want the campaign to be set up correctly, if we want the campaign to be re-signed at the end of its contract, then we got to be able to show how we're tracking it. And to do that, we either need the website login to put conversion codes on there, or we're going to need to give them a Google Tag Manager. But this is number one. If we can get the website login access for the campaign, we can install all the conversion codes. Number two, we want to make sure that we do have Google Analytics access. And all you have to do is what it says right here. Have your client add the email address with admin rights to Saga Communications Online at gmail.com or your local market's Gmail account. And you would just put an X there once it is complete. All right, moving down. If and only if we are doing SEO, would you need the domain information. But if we are doing any type of SEO, then we would want to make sure that they have a secure environment around their website, and that is domain information. Social media access, if we are doing two things. If we are either doing SEO or if we are doing Facebook, Instagram, or any type of social media ads, would we need this? So again, on the credentials page, what's really important for all campaigns is website admin access or Google Tag Manager. Number two, having Google Analytics access. Domain would be important for SEO, and again, social media would be important to have for two things. One, for SEO, if that tactic was chosen, or number two, Facebook ads. All right, tab number two. All right, for tab number two, conversion tracking. So anything that you want us to track for conversion. And just as a reminder, a conversion is a phone call, live chat, form submission, email, any type of a contact where we can show that a contact was made from our efforts to the client. You would put any information here of what pages you wanted to track or what type of conversion tracking that you wanted. You would put that there on tab 2 for conversion tracking. Now, if you have sold a paid search marketing campaign, then these are pretty self-explanatory, but let me make sure just to walk you through them. Target products and services. So this is ad groups. Let's say that you're an HVAC company. Now, if you're an HVAC company and a plumbing company, which we see all the time. So what you would want to do here is you would want to have, for example, emergency plumbing as one target service. You'd want to have heating repair as a service. You'd want to have heating installation. You'd want to have anything like, heating, HVAC maintenance, etc. But that will trigger usually everyone to ask the client, well, what's important right now, especially with these types of home service clients that do HVAC, electrical, and plumbing all together. It can be cyclical because, especially down in the South, you'll find that the majority of these companies make their money from HVAC between May and September. So depending on what time of the year the campaign is sold, and depending on what time of the year that the campaign is being activated, this is really important. Now, negative keywords, these are things that you don't want your ads to show up for. For example, if this campaign is about repair and not about recruiting new employees to hire, you'd want to, put on, to make the negative keyword hiring or job or employment. So if someone types in heating repair company jobs, you would not want your ad to show up because they're just looking for jobs, unless this is a recruiting campaign. Text ads, let us know anything special about this client that gives them a competitive edge. This is where we start writing a lot of our copy inside of the text ad. So I will tell you a secret, too, that we have learned over the years is if you put things like this, you're going to almost triple your click-through rate. So if your client is able to provide same-day service and somebody really needs that, we recommend putting that in there. We don't recommend putting stuff like family-owned and operated or service number one, but something that would make someone that's on a mobile phone see that choice inside of that text ad and click it. So immediate service available is one, same-day service, for example. You also have a lot of couponing going on in home service clients, where you'll see $29 off any service call, or your first call is free, whatever it might be. But ask them about what is it that would make someone want to click on their ad versus a competitor ad. Okay, and then over here, campaign goals, objectives, and additional notes. What are you looking for your SEM campaign to accomplish for your business? Do you have a separate mobile URL? Any notes we need to know. So, for example, a campaign goal would be client needs to have 17 booked or scheduled work orders each day. Pretty common for plumbing and HVAC companies. Client is looking to grow in, for example, emergency services after hours and weekends. So telling us what the goals are helps us really to tweak and pivot the campaign as potentially needed. All right, and then moving over here to day parting. Now, take a second and think about that. If they don't have somebody to answer the phone on the weekend that's not live, well, it's probably going to be a waste of money to put their ads on Saturday and Sunday. We always recommend speaking to the client about this. If they're going to be getting the majority of their business on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, well, by all means, you'll want to run Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But also look at it to a degree like a radio schedule. You could run during the hours that they're operating between, for example, 8:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. every day. But if they want emergency service and after hours, then you would run, for example, from 8:30 a.m. to potentially 11:30 p.m. So here's where you'll want to make sure that you let us know what days to run, or if you want to run 24 hours. And we do have a lot of clients that run 24 hours. If you're a remodeler, you are looking for ideas. If you are a homeowner thinking about, what do I want my kitchen or my bathroom to potentially look like? Well, we want to make sure that they see us no matter when they're searching. But for home service clients that need a call that's generated from that ad click, we recommend running the ads during their times that they're at their best, where they're going to answer the phone and be able to help the client. Typically, over here on this side, under preferences, do you want us to put most of the focus on the campaign to maximize the budget for the most number of people coming to the site? you would choose that option. We recommend the second one, maximize the budget for the most number of conversions. So we leave that one as a default mark unless you change it. Call tracking, we're going to always recommend that you have that turned on. Call tracking, yes. Record phone calls, yes. Everything is HIPAA compliant with our company. If you want a local area code, put it here, for example, when the number switches out from a paid search ad. That way we're able to see the number of calls that came from our efforts. And then here you're going to put, where are we going to forward the calls to? What is their main number to forward calls to? Any hours that they don't answer the phone, for example, you would want to put that to their call service, answering service number right here, if they have that. And that's about it on the SEM side. We'll come back to local service ads, but let's look at display for a minute. And let's say that you've sold a display contextual campaign. All we're looking for here is to give us some categories that we're looking to help target for your client. So you can find everything in here from arts and entertainment, automotive. You will see virtually every type of a category is in here. But with contextual targeting, it's important for us to know what types of categories, contextually speaking, we should be putting our ads in. So this is where you would put over here under selection what types of categories that you would want to target for contextual display. All right, moving on to search retargeting. Search retargeting is an example of when, let's say that you're on Google and you do a search for, let's say, personal injury lawyer. Okay, and you find a couple of options in the text ads at the very top, highlighting certain law firms in the Lowcountry or in other markets. Well, the way that search retargeting works is there's a cookie that we placed on their browser, and actually really the next day, for the next 30 to 60 days, the display ads from your client are going to be shown on all their devices, their mobile phone, their tablet, and their desktop of the person that was searching for personal injury lawyer. So now your client will have display ads, and we prefer and recommend animated display ads for your client, and that's called search retargeting. So here you would let us know, well, what types of searches are people making that would make sense for us to display our display ads to them. So, for example, if you are a personal injury lawyer, you would put, if your client was a personal injury client, you would put personal injury law firm, car accident lawyer. You would put, for example, truck accident lawyer, motorcycle accident lawyer, and then any other branded law firms. So people that are searching for Morgan and Morgan, do you kind of ride that wave and show display ads with that as well? And then over here, same thing with keywords, any type of categories. So, for example, personal injury law. You could also put in here, accident victim. So any kind of categories, but that'll be the main one, is personal injury law. If they do workers' comp, you put workers' comp there as well. And then let us know what those competitor URLs are of those branded law firms right here, because that will be very easy to show display ads to people that are searching for those competitors. And that is display search retargeting. We'll come back to CRM targeting. Let's look at geofencing. I'm pretty sure most people that are listening to the video and watching the video have sold or know just enough about geofencing. So geofencing, by definition, is location-based targeting, where you can get as accurate as a rooftop. So a conversion zone is going to be where we would expect to see a lift in foot traffic, which is usually going to be the client's location, right? So for the conversion zone, you would put the actual conversion zone and the actual name of the client and fill out address, city, state, and zip. And all of these are where you would be tracking competitors typically. It doesn't have to be competitors. It could be event-based geofencing. It could be several different fences that you want to track. But what we'll need here is the fence name, address, city, zip, etc. Again, pretty simple, but that's where you would fill that out. I mentioned event geofence. If there is any type of events coming up in that market, or for the client, they want to make sure they capture the people attending that event, this is where you would put the event name and the address and the start and end dates for that event as well. With addressable, this is where you're going to be creating or curating a new targeting custom audience. We can pretty much hit any category that's needed. So just take a look as you go through here, and even if you don't see what you're looking for specifically here, still type it out right here under selection of what you're looking for specifically for the addressable, and we should, with all of our numerous providers and DSPs, have no problem doing that. We'll let you know if it's ever a problem. But again, if you don't see it on here as an option, still type in what you're looking for specifically, and that is addressable geofencing. With OTV and CTV, we're going to need some pretty basic info, but goals is a big one. What are the goals for the campaign? Are they looking for brand lift, branded search terms for their name to be increased? That's one of the things that we track as an agency. So what are the goals for the client? And, another goal could be the fact that they're looking to take more market share against competitors. What are the number of impressions per month? What is the goal there? What target demographic we are looking to target? And what is the precise geography to which we are targeting? Again, pretty simple, but want to make sure that we went through that one as well. That's OTV and CTV. Facebook, when you do sell a Facebook campaign, you just want to go through this tab and make sure that everything on here has been checked off. So, for example, has Facebook access been granted? Yes or no. What is the geography for targeting? A lot of people will do the entire DMA of a market, but you don't have to do that. You can be a lot more precise than that. The audience target, age, any type of demographic, as we know, is very restrictive in Facebook to a degree, but interest level you can put in there as well. Facebook header, what do you want the main message to be about? What do you want the actual header to say to people? What is the body going to say to people? What's the message, the content in the body? Are you submitting, for example, creative with the actual ads? What type of impressions are we going for with Facebook? If it is an impression-based campaign, and what is the landing URL? So that's what we'll be needing with Facebook as well. And then eBlast will be covered on a different call as well. But just to go and recap for a minute. So again, you're able to download the sheet yourself now. And under credentials, you're going to find things that we need, such as the website login, which is pretty much universal for any campaign that you end up selling to your client. Social media access is going to be really important for both SEO and number 2 for social media ads. Conversion tracking, just like website URL, is going to be important for any campaign that you are wishing to track how we're doing. So it is highly recommended that you fill out what we're looking to accomplish and what the goals are of the campaign despite the topic. SEM, we covered a good bit here, but as you know, if you just go through and tell us the goals, what we're trying to do, think about the day parting, how you want to do it. Typically, this is going to be our recommendation right here for conversions, and call tracking is going to default to yes as well. We're going to cover local service ads in a different video. Contextual, these are the categories here for contextual targeting that you would fill out. For search retargeting, as I mentioned earlier, these are people that are searching for either a specific company or a category search, and we use the example of personal injury law. So let us know what those keywords are that we're looking to show display ads to the person that was searching for them. What type of categories would work to target them correctly? And any competitor URLs that we would also want to target. Again, CRM targeting will be on a different video call. We went over conversion zone, and as a reminder, the conversion zone usually is going to be the client themselves, so we can track foot and lift, foot traffic and lift. So then these are the geofences. You don't have to fill them all out, of course, but if you do have more than 2 or 3, you would put them all right there as well. Same thing with event-based geofencing. We talked about that in a good bit. Addressable, as I mentioned, this is where you can be as specific as you'd like to be. Even if you don't see the categories over here, just write them under selection so we can go and start building that curated audience for you. OTV and CTV, goals, number of impressions, demographic, and geo. And any other miscellaneous information that you wanted to add, you can add in there as well. Facebook we covered. Do we have Facebook access? The geo target area. Tell us about the audience we're looking for. Any copy points from the headline of the ad to as well as the body. Are you including creative? Is it included in the? So as you can see, when we have this filled out, hopefully in unison for every tactic sold, then that does eliminate a lot of downtime with communication going back and forth and looking for this, looking for that. So we recommend to get on this as soon as you know, or you feel pretty good that the campaign has been sold. Start working on these tabs and looking at what's needed. And therefore, we would be a lot more confident that when it's time for renewal, that you should have no problems. So again, this is on your resource page, and scroll down to the very bottom, and you'll see download asset sheet. And this will conclude this section.